I worked on fusion propulsion systems, which provide particles going out the back end that have 10 million times as much energy as they get in a dumb old chemical rocket. It's funny how it's okay to look, but you have to presume that nobody's traveling, and where there is life out there now, it's always been there. No colonization and no migration. These are the rules. You know, what's tough is for most people, they think we're the crown of creation, rather than at the bottom of the heap because we haven't been around that long. You know? And I just wish there were more people doing research. We don't know a lot about the past history of the planet. Oh, sure, we find dinosaur bones and stuff like that. But it took Henry Schliemann, they had to dig down 75 feet to find Troy. And sure enough, there it was. And that's only from a few thousand years ago. How many civilizations have there been here in the past? How many civilizations have there been here in the past? Certainly think that we've got two different propulsion systems to worry about. One's between the stars, and the other is in the vicinity of the planet. Planets have atmospheres. Planets have gravity, strong gravity. The atmosphere is a complication because you get heating. So if you use magneto-aerodynamic systems, you ionize the air around the craft, similar to the electromagnetic submarine, which works only in seawater, you understand, which is an electrically conducting fluid. If you ionize the air, people see ionized air all the time. When a meteor comes in, what you're seeing is the air around this little speck of stuff. A Volkswagen doesn't, put an exhaust out the back so it can go forward and get rid of garbage. A good football player is very much better on a field in which he has traction rather than a very slippery field. You want to interact rather than avoid interaction. So it's a different approach. And, Friedman's law, technological progress comes from doing things differently in an unpredictable way. The future is not an extrapolation of the past. A laser is not just a better light bulb. And as I told him, I think you were one of the lucky ones. If you had shot, I think you might not be here. And I'm sure the aliens are wondering what's going on down there. We got to check out. I mean, it is standard practice for a country that wants to know about the other guy's military to probe and push and see how fast can they go, how fast do their radar systems lock on, stuff like that. So I would expect that aliens checking around the United States would also want to find out exactly those same things. You hear all those cases where saucers chase UFOs and the UFO pulls away. That's a good way to find out how fast the airplane can go, isn't it? Make right-angle turns, how quickly can these guys turn? And most high-performance jets can't make right-angle turns. Except that we're always ready to shoot first and ask questions later. And that would be of concern. So you got to find out, we can stay away from these guys. How fast can they go anyway? Stuff like that. So I'm looking for those stories. Of course, there were people who said you'd never be able to fly except with the help of a balloon. That was an astronomer, of course. The history is full of these nasty, noisy negativists who can't get anything right. They're well-educated in areas that have nothing to do with the problem at hand. Well, the ego is important here, you see. If this were real, it would be important. If it were important, I would know about it.
The Army sent a colonel to go and check this out because, of course, it's very important for the military to stay on good terms with landowners because we do a lot of training on farms and such like. And he flew over the farm and saw, what was one of our very early crop circle formations. Now, what the farmer thought was that these patterns had been caused by the downwash from helicopter rotor blades. But the colonel quickly satisfied himself that was just an impossibility. And he sent the report to the Ministry of Defence, to Secretariat Air Staff, the division where I actually worked, although that was before my time in post. And that, in a way, it's interesting because nobody really knew what to do with this report. I was doing that job before Freedom of Information, so I could very much concentrate on looking at the reports, which suited me.
Right now, the subject of UFOs is some UFO groups think that it's held more top secret than that of the atom bomb owned by the government. Would you agree with that?
Well, that's certainly a quote that I've heard. I must say it's something that I've heard described more in relation to the situation in the United States. And I should say that I have no access to any United States UFO projects. Certainly, I was told, no, we really are not.
These travelers that, not unlike Noah, travel from one side of the universe or one side of the galaxy, or from universe to universe, as freely as we go to Walmart. Although it probably takes a tremendous amount of energy and some planning, they're certainly capable of doing that. Then we have to think, who's coming here and why? Is it a tourist attraction? Are we so temperate in the universe, in the solar system, that we're attractive to them? If that's true, then why aren't they building condos in Mazatlan? Why aren't they coming here to settle? Because that's not why they're doing what you think they're doing, and when I have a tendency to believe that, then they're collecting the broadest collection of DNA that they could possibly collect. I would like to believe that the frequency, the intensity, and the forefront of UFO presence on this planet is going to increase.
It's basically a wingman motor riding on a magnetic bearing. But the three of them has one sort of rounded west one and the final one on that. So, well, placing one box. But what happens here is that the input from the inner one feeds into the input of the second one. This boosts the power immensely. Then that output is put into the input of the final one. Not one law is broken. It's inside Newton's law. They're not aware of magnetic bearings. These are two common things now in existence. You'd think that this technology would have grabbed the marketplace by now. We can solve problems, but it would take the effort of many people to do it quick. It is a wonderful machine. It's a shame, really, that the past, the Beatles played my work in a way that lots of people thought it was a nutcase. And wonder if ever we could do anything to improve our life. Because when you try, there's always those who try to stop you. Forget the media. Tell them you wasn't interested when I needed help. Now I don't need you. That means you can push this work hard and get it out there. Factories do it. All the problems we have on Earth have solutions to them. And that's where the problem lies. The Earth is one, and everybody tries to split it up in sections. And forget that the damage they do in the long run will affect the rest of the world. All our rubbish coming out of power stations end up on the poles, in Norway on the trees, and we wonder why fish are not proceeding on the course we expect them to. We find whales drifting where they shouldn't be. And then we see that the animal kingdom is not reproducing as fast as they were. And we say, why? Why are there so many babies born today with so many different injuries? Need kidney treatment, need heart treatment. Sort of thing you never had back in the past, they were very rare. Today, they're not rare anymore. The trouble is, if we're taking in a lot of rubbish in the air, and we sure do, then we are bound to suffer.
In some of the tests. Now, some of the other tests, these don't follow that route. They're kind of slow lift-offs, or they're hovering. And sometimes they are so, I understand that it's all the basics of the working equipment. Slight shifts, movement, heat, expansion, contraction, electrostatic force levels, and all that seems to cause the effect, to cause all kinds of different types of effects. So you need to basically build it in a whole different system of working equipment where there's more control over it, because in the early days, in the 1980s, it was very primitive, and it was actually quite amazing that it even worked or even did anything. When you got everything open to the air, not much shielding, the electrostatics being produced also exposed to the environment. But what I was trying to do over the years was enhance the effects per hour, and I did able to do so by keep going back and forth and building some of the units from vacuum tubes, which increase the effects many times over. So most likely for quite a while, most likely we're relying on vacuum tube technology, and maybe someday into solid state, although solid state stuff would have to be super exotic to withstand certain voltage pressures. And these voltage pressures can range to 400,000 volts, varying up and down the scale, depending on what equipment I'm using. Apparently so. Now, there was a group I worked with who have a video on it. I don't have a copy of the video, but they were able to levitate a 1,500-pound transformer with the same kind of low wattage, and they were able to repeat that. Now, although I don't know what a telephone pole weighs, but it did shake one of those things around. Well, it's already been presented to the entire United States government, guys, back in '83. I was told that at the time that they wanted to know about the technology because they felt the Soviet Union had something similar to mine. So I did cooperate fully with these guys, and the technology had many good attempts by good scientists to open it up for people to come and investigate it. Like, there's a lot of pieces I need to find and put into place again. But again, there's like always surplus everywhere. A simple building, some machine tools, some high voltage equipment, simply get things rolling again, so that that's not too much. I don't think it's too much to ask for. And then the scientists, I'm not even looking at patents or self-glorification. I'm just saying, you guys come and take a look and see what you can make out of it and to duplicate it. Because nature's not waiting around for... I forgot, I guess I have to speed things up here to get things going. It's rather sad. I know there's concerned people around.